and it really screws up your mind. It rewires you in a completely backwards way. It destroys your self-esteem, destroys your physical fitness, just kills your motivation. We got to put an end to this. The only way to put an end to this is to fix ourselves first.
What's going on, everybody? Chris here, and I am here with somebody who just graduated our Reboot Implementation Program. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend. I'm here with my friend Matt. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Hey, man, like I said earlier, thank you for making the time and just, really taking the time to share about your experience in the program. And I love what I've been seeing from you. I know we've talked, through your time here about your profession, and I want to dive into that. But first things first, how did you first discover the Reboot program?
So, you know what? I was watching YouTube, right? And there would be times after I may have slipped, that I would look at a video like, all right, how do I stop it? How do I stop it? After a while, his ad came up from Reboot here, right? And, and I got a call from you guys. And at first I was like, it's a lot of money. I'm not really interested, right? But then I got a call a year later again. And I said, you know what? Let's give this a chance, right? I got on a phone call with David and we got started, and yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, There's definitely been times that I failed, I'm not going to say I'm totally healed yet, but I think I've learned a lot about myself and I learned a lot about what I want to play.
I love that. And I love the fact that you specified it's like, I don't think I'm like 100% yet, but you've at least got the tools to help you get there that you may not have known about before, And we'll definitely dive into more of that. But take me back to that moment, like right before you decided to take the plunge. What was the moment like when you were like, you know what? It's time. Like, if money's like a thing, but we're going to just invest, we're going to dive right in. Like, what was the thing that kind of pushed you on into that pool?
I think David, he sent me a few videos, on the different cycles of, I'm gonna say so, other addicts, but, it was just pretty scary. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, this one definitely applies to me. Let's hop on that Zoom call, I talked with David and he's just like, yeah, I think you're actually a little higher on the scale, even though you've had accomplishments already, that's going to stop, if we don't get this fixed out, I'm not here to be your effing friend, And I'm like, you know what? He's right. He was telling me like, a lot of that stuff is actually illegal. Reason being is people are trafficked. You don't even know their age. You don't know where they're from. They can be kidnapped from Latin America, Russia, even here in America. They can just be randomly taken or just manipulated, trafficked, which just happened to quite, unfortunately, a lot of people. But they thought there was someone who cared about them, they loved, right? But then they were, they're just using them for to make money, quick buck.
Yeah, it's a really, really sad reality that is, first of all, happening. You know what I mean? And it's sort of romanticized in a way, and really, really manipulated. So it's a real thing, and it's really, really rough and really, really sad.
Absolutely. And I just decided I didn't want to be a part of that anymore, I was contributing it. I didn't mean to, but at the end of the day, if I continue knowing that would have been a huge sin. And I think like the last time I slipped, I was actually traumatized by it because I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know thing about the person in this video, I don't know who was doing it, why they were doing it, why she was doing it, what she was feeling in the moment, what type of drug she may have been on, what she may have been told, right? The status of her safety. And I was like, you know what, let me look into this more. And I actually watched a movie called Sound of Freedom. And that was extremely, extremely eye-opening. And now I think I want to do something to get involved in that, And that's a real story too.
No, 100%. And like I said, it's a sad reality that a lot of guys, what starts out as like innocent curiosity, like what's going on here, kind of devolved into this world that we never saw ourselves, kind of flirting with or getting involved in. So, I mean, I know for a fact that many people can relate to that. But as far as what you've learned goes, like while you were in the group, I'm curious as to what are some of the tools that you sort of garnered through your time in the group.
I think definitely the feelings exercise, I continually do that every morning. I actually check out with that. So I do that at night as well. Through this app, which actually one of my AP showed me. We actually have a whole AP group on WhatsApp called How We Feel. Irrational exercise. I definitely did that this morning. Because we actually requires to read a book called Breaking the Cycle. For those of you who haven't read it, I recommend reading it. And I was actually able to talk to my inner addict, you kind of see exactly what's going on. And I actually figured out, all right, I have, a few alter egos and I'm able to talk to them, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's just a scared 10-year-old kid when I was first exposed to this type of stuff,
Yeah.
and a few other things happening in my life.
Can you
I don't
talk a
know.
little bit more about that particular exercise? Because when I first learned about it, it was a complete game changer. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with dialoguing?
Sure. So it's actually JK calls it irrational thoughts, right? So your irrational thoughts are things that's telling you to go slip, go do it, right? Or that you're not good enough, you're gonna fail, right? You're gonna F up. Not even in Reboot, it could be in anything, right? It's especially terrible for people like me who got OCD. Um, but then there's your rational thoughts say, wait a minute, slow down a little bit. Let's rationalize. Let's talk about it, And you kind of bring that irrational, it's not about defeating that irrational self. It's about kind of getting that irrational self to the other side. Say, hey, brother, come on. It's okay. Come in. It's fine. You're going to be okay. That sort of thing. At least that's what it is for me. I know for others, it'll look different. But I think for me, it's just reassuring that scared little kid.
That's so good. I mean, I can really, really relate because it was a complete game changer for me where it was like, oh, it's not about like shoving this thought away. It's not about like suppressing this kind of feeling, like, I don't want to feel this, so let me do something else to
Yeah.
admit it. It really is about like kind of catering to or caring for that feeling that may have been there since we were kids. That part of us when we were a scared kid that wasn't, properly nurtured or cared for. It's kind of like our
Right.
job to kind of be our own dad in a way.
That's what I always say. Yeah.
So good. So dialoguing, feelings exercise, rational exercise, these are all tools that, we've all learned in the group. I'm curious as to any like takeaways from using those tools kind of consistently.
I think the biggest one is, at the end of the day, you're the only one who's going to be there at the end. You're your own best friend. The man in the mirror is literally your life partner, right? Now, obviously, I'm not saying don't date, don't do any of that. I'm not encouraging men go their own way movement, but that comes in time, right? You have to get in contact with yourself first. 'Cause at the end of the day, the only one who can surely be there for you is you.
Yeah.
No matter what type of life you had, whether it was good, whether it was bad, no matter what the relationship status is, at the end of the day, the one who's there for you is you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our journey. This is our compulsion that we're working with. And at the end of the day, we always have a choice. And opening yourself up to, a sense of awareness. Like I said, that hurt that's been there since we were a kid, or that thing that bothered us last week that's still affecting us to this day. It's not
Yep.
a matter of running away from the dark. It's about like embracing the light. It's like, okay, we got these things that are going on either from our past or right now, but I'm in a program that's here to build me, not break me. I'm here to better my situation. So you'll find out really quickly that this is more than just the, PMO group, right? Like that might
Right.
have been the thing where it's like, all right, let's all reach out for help. Of course, that might have been the initial impetus. But the longer you spend, the more time you spend here, you start to learn about how to, like you said, be your own best friend and unashamedly chase some of those things that you're actually passionate about. So,
Right.
with all that said, I'm curious about having learned what you've learned and experienced what you've experienced during your time in the group. I'm curious as to how you've maybe noticed some changes in your own self, maybe your attitude, your habits, your mindset, anything that comes to mind.
I think definitely I've been thinking more positively, and I still have a long way to go with this. Like I'm not anywhere near where I should be yet, but I think I've definitely thought about things more positively. I've thought about more about my future, what I want from it, because I kind of went with one vision, but I'm like, wait a minute, there's a few different paths, right? there's a few different ways I can utilize my talents, you know? So I think I'm exploring that. Um, Actually doing a few things right now, which is pretty good. I'm actually writing a book. Uh,
Wow.
Looking for other teaching jobs, considering other paths in teaching. Uh, Looking into real estate. I'm hoping to start my own tutoring business. I'm actually tutoring right now as well. So I think I was tutoring, I was teaching, I was doing a few different jobs before, but I think now there's more of like a end goal. I kind of have a better idea what the end goal is. And in regards to women, you know, I think stopping you know, in the book, he recommends that uh, put your hand in your heart and tell yourself something, right? For me, it's man of honor, you know, whenever I'm seeing or I'm getting tempted, I'll just do that and it helps me, you know? Um, yeah, I think definitely I'm a lot less sexualized. You know? So there's some scenes in the movie where I can't watch it, you know, because it's just against my values. I can't do it. So I think those changes have been pretty prevalent in my life.
That's really, really great to hear, man. That's super encouraging. And I'm really, really proud
Thank
of
you.
you for that kind of progress. That's
Thank you.
not a small deal. You know, you have this newfound sense of energy. You're pursuing a lot of different goals. I'm really, really proud of you, man. That's really, really awesome.
Thank you.
I'm curious, do you happen to have any experience with the coaching calls in the group?
I do. Yeah, I found Dr. Eastman's very helpful. What I appreciate JK did was he would also put his stuff on YouTube. You know, he would put sometimes it would just be a monologue, other times it would just be a Q&A. You know, you can even find him on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And he talks to a lot of different people, a lot of different distinct people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that there's this concept called reboot capital in the group, right? Where
Yeah.
there's actually things that we want to invest in, like our physical reboot capital, our emotional reboot capital, financial, spirituality, right? And we have all these different coaching calls to kind of like dive into those specific areas. Again, things that
Yeah.
are actually, you know, things that we actually want to build on. So I'm curious as to, what part of Reboot Capital you found yourself maybe growing in the most.
I think definitely dating because I think that helped me to learn that I needed to be by myself for a little while, you know. In order to attract the person you want, you have to become that person first. And I think I'm still in the process of that right now.
That's good, man. But I like that you keep on specifying like I'm still in the process, which is
Thank you.
a step in the right direction because previously we may not have been in the process at all. But here we are. It's like I might not be. It's like here's where we were, here's where we want to be. And let's say for
Right.
all intents and purposes, maybe we're like here. It's like, okay, I might not be where I want to be, but I know I'm not where I used to be.
Absolutely.
And that's great to hear, man. I'm really encouraged by that. But I know one thing that I wanted to ask you was,
Sure.
let's say you meet up with somebody who had been struggling in ways that you and I know about very well. Just kind of
Yeah.
struggling in silence, not really knowing what to do, where to turn, struggling with compulsive behaviors. Knowing what you know now through your time in the program, the tools you've learned, and, the people that you've interacted with, and being where you're at now, is there anything that you would recommend to that person, or is there anything you'd want to tell that person?
First of all, I would tell them, you're not alone, right? So find an accountability partner. It doesn't really matter what age you are. I'm one of the older ones in the group. I'm in my 30s. I'm not going to specify that right now. Gonna let you guys guess. But anyway, both my accountability partners were like much younger than I was. And I'm like, what am I doing talking to like a bunch of kids? I'm like 5 or 6 years older than these guys, But I was so shocked. They were so similar to what I was. And what they were going through was very similar to what I was going through. And I actually learned a lot from them. They learned a lot from me because I was able to be that older brother. So I think first, definitely look for that accountability partner. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Second, get the book, Breaking the Cycle. Read that as soon as you can. That goes along perfectly with JK's programs. And just stay consistent. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. If you slip, don't beat yourself up. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you're able to get up and what you're going to do when you get up. You're going to stay down or you're going to figure out, okay, hey, you know what? This didn't work. Let me try this instead.
So good. That's so, so good. I know when I was kind of in my hole, kind of going through my stuff, that was something that I know would have helped me. So I appreciate you speaking to that for sure. So I
Thank
guess
you.
with all that being said, for somebody that might still be in that hole, would you recommend this program?
100%. I think it's needed. And the sad thing is, there's a lot of men who don't know they have this addiction. You know, we're a nation of addicts. Let's just call it what it is. You know, whether it's opium, whether it's marijuana, which is dangerous. Don't try to tell me no. Alcohol, which is what this program is for. You know, gambling, shopping, everything. You know, but I think especially this is the most deadly drug. It's actually used as a weapon in the United States military. I would 110% recommend this program. Find a way to invest in it, please, for everybody's sake.
Go a little bit more with that for everybody's sake.
Because we're an over-sexualized nation, right? Very over-sexualized. And the reason is a lot of us were touched when we were inappropriately one way or another when we were young, right? And we were told it's normal. So if we're told something is normal, right, we grew up with that. And the weird thing is we're told that, you know, this is wrong, is wrong. Being touch is okay, but all this other stuff is wrong, right? So it makes it gives you this contradiction, right? And it really screws up your mind. It rewires you in a completely backwards way. So a lot of men, women too, will resort to, right? They'll resort to basically, right? And it destroys your self-esteem, destroys your physical fitness, just kills your motivation, you know, and it just causes, it destroys marriages too. Look at how high the divorce rate is here, you know. It's also hurting our children. Kids as young as like 5 years old are being trafficked in. 5 years old. We got to put an end to this. The only way to put an end to this is to fix ourselves first. I think there's a saying by Gandhi, you know, where it's like the way to fix the world is to fix yourself first. This is the way to fix yourself. Take this chance. This is a golden opportunity. Instead of spending $400 on this or that, the other thing, this is cheap enough for you to afford. I guarantee. You're able to spend all that money on marijuana, you can afford this. Please, make the investment.
Matt, thank you so much for speaking to all that. You know, it's a time investment, it's an emotional investment for sure, but I appreciate the fact that you made this decision for yourself. You put your foot down, you said enough is enough, and took active strides in bettering your situation, bettering your life. So on behalf of so many that have watched you grow and watched you implement, I'm really, really proud of you and sincerely wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you guys have done for me. I'll always remember it.
Amen. All the best to you, brother.